want to travel on what was called a package tour in those days.
Skiing, said Arnold, was a branch of exploration. They had to solve their own problems with little help from guidebooks or guides, who, Arnold boasted, he often dispensed with. There you go, that good old Balliol trait, a tranquil consciousness of effortless superiority.
Winter sport could also be found closer to home. In 1908, the London Olympics began, starting in April and lasting 6 months, the longest games ever. Right down at the rear end of the schedule in October were the first Olympic winter sports, figure skating. Britain's Florence Madeline Mad Sires won the ladies' singles.
This British confidence, this willingness to innovate even on other people's mountains, this arrogance, if you like, not surprisingly, didn't go down that well in countries with well-developed traditions of winter sport. I mean, who are the Brits to be telling the Norwegians about skiing? Ski is an Old Norse word. And how had the Arctic explorer, the Norwegian, Ronald Amundsen, managed to beat Scott of the Antarctic by 34 days to the South Pole on skis? That's how. And skis also helped him to get out alive. When you come to these Scandinavian countries like Norway, you realise just how important winter sports are to people around here. They regard ski jumping, for example, like we think of the World Cup finals.
On the great Holmenkollen jump, just outside Oslo, the first half of what's often called the classic combined event was completed. It's a supreme test of all-round skiing ability, with the ski jump followed on the next day with an 18-kilometre cross-country race.
In fact, the ski jumping happened here during the Olympic Games. It's estimated that 100,000 spectators turned up just to watch. It's -5. Why are we all out here firing rifles? Why aren't we safely tucked up at home?
We love doing biathlon, we love training, we love the cold. We have to love the cold to live in Norway. It's not always cold there, but the winter is cold and a lot of snow. And they say that the Norwegians are born with ski on their feet. It's not real.
So in England, of course, the big excitement is the Football World Cup. For you guys, are the Winter Olympics the biggest event of the sporting calendar?
Yes, it really is. And then we come, all of Norway comes together and we identify with our sportsmen and women, and we are competing at the top, and then we are one big nation.
The Swedes, who ruled over Norway at the beginning of the 20th century, weren't too bad either. In 1901, they hosted the inaugural Nordic Games. There was bandy, which is a version of ice hockey still played today, skeleton tobogganing, curling, and ski jumping. The Scandinavians were keen to protect their Nordic sports, and they lobbied against their inclusion in the Olympic programme.
There could only be one winner: the Nordic Games or the Winter Olympics. It was a fight that would be decided in the French Alps.
The pendulum was shifting towards the Olympics. The last Nordic Games were held in 1926, 2 years after a special international winter sports festival held here in Chamonix in France.
It wasn't just any old week of sport, but sponsored by the International Olympic Committee and organised by the French Olympic Committee. There was bobsleigh, curling, figure skating, ice hockey, military patrol, and plenty of Nordic skiing. Still, no downhill racing.
There was even a special gold medal for the team of mountaineers, which included Mallory, who had tried to ascend Everest in 1922. Baron de Coubertin personally wrote to the climber and asked him if he'd come pick up his medal. When the reply came, it was to the point. He wrote, "Absolutely impossible, Mallory." He was headed back to the Himalayas for his final attempt. The games here in Chamonix had been so successful that 2 years later, that is, in the year of the last ever Nordic Games, the International Olympic Committee decided retrospectively to call this the first Winter Olympics.
Those were the first. 90 years on, Sochi will hold the 22nd. Winter sport had come of age. The Winter Olympics were next held in San Moritz in 1928, and then Lake Placid, New York State, in 1932.
Olympic Games are on. Now for a little novelty, my specialty, skating on stilts.
Ice skating was the main attraction.
Part of the glamour of skating comes from the history of it. And the old days when they would compete outdoors and you would hand your music to the orchestra and the conductor would play and it's snowing and you're competing. I would have loved to have experienced that.
Winter sports had found its first superstar, Sonja Henie from Norway. 3 gold medals in 3 Olympic Games from 1928. She would invite controversy for her friendship with Adolf Hitler.
Well, Sonja was figure skating for many years, and she really set the tone. I mean, she has more titles than anyone ever, and was at one point the highest paid person in Hollywood, male or female, as a movie star.
Sun Valley Serenade, starring Sonja Henie, so radiant.
Now, what would you do up in Sun Valley where the temperature's 106 below zero and the snow's up to your neck?
Snow? Is it like that?
Anything on skis remained very Nordic. And now Lund was working on making skiing so exciting and spectacular that it'd be impossible to leave out.
Arnold Lund was the man who started it all. Downhill and slalom. It didn't exist before, so that was the foundation of alpine ski race.
Norwegians were furious. They compared it to the Eskimos rewriting the rules of cricket. Lund replied, maybe they should. There'd be fewer draws.
Arnold founded the Kandahar Club in honour of Field Marshal Roberts, hero of the Anglo-Afghan War of 1880. Here in Murren in 1928, he put on a show that could not be ignored, the Inferno International Ski Race.
Here at the skiing resort of Murren, high up in the Swiss Alps, competitors are preparing for the start of the long-distance ski racing championship. As the entrance set out over the 14-kilometre course, a light covering of powdery snow makes the going difficult over the course.
It was an absolutely crazy idea first. I think not the Swiss would have done it.
Oh, those early Inferno races were very, well, British. The winner of the second ever race called James Riddle, and he finished in 45 minutes. The judges at the bottom were in the pub. They weren't expecting anyone that early. They said, my God, you shouldn't be here for another half an hour. He said, that's not my problem. I'm here now, and I need a beer. No wonder this place inspired Ian Fleming. I need a beer.